So here's my new rule, right? Because everything you grow up and you're like, be 10 minutes early, 10 minutes early. Well, think about this. You have 6 meetings or things to go to throughout the day. And you're there 10 minutes early for every single one. You've lost an hour of your day. Right? An hour of your day. Well, obviously, like in the military, and I wasn't in the military. I worked as a contractor for the military at a pretty high level. But same thing in like, SWAT, doing SWAT operations, stuff like that. Pre-planned warrant service. Like timing's everything. Mm-hmm. And if you're too early or you're too late, you're compromised, right? Mm-hmm. With infills, exfills, stuff like that. And this was something that actually I learned from a 160th pilot. And basically their rule is that they can be anywhere in the world plus or minus 30 seconds.
Okay.
So planning an operation, they can be anywhere in the world, get their helicopters anywhere in the world to infill someone or exfil someone, plus or minus 30 seconds. The amount of planning and training that goes in that to pull that off logistically is, people don't comprehend that.
Yeah.
But he's basically saying, like, if you can be ready to go 2 minutes prior to your obligation, you're good to go. So you have a meeting, be there ready 2 minutes prior. Not like you're there 2 minutes prior and then you got to get your briefcase out and get everything open or get this. Like, be there ready to go 2 minutes prior. And so I'm like, okay. So I show up 2 minutes before everything, but I'm like ready to go.
I've been doing that for a long time, man. Everyone's like, gives me crap because they're like, hey, if you're not half an hour early, you're late.
No, bro.
And I'm like, I'm 5 minutes early. I literally get out, go.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly it.
There's no time is lollygagging. It's just
time is irreplaceable, man. Yeah. Time is money, dude. So, so super stoked to sit down with you.
Yeah, me as well, man.
We have a unique guest on the Mike Force podcast, Conor Jackson. So a lot of the Mike Force podcasts, we host military guys, special operations guys, SWAT cops, etc. And you're none of that.
None of that.
Which I think is a really cool thing because you bring a whole different skill set to our world. Yeah. And the synergy, the way our worlds convene is really, really unique. And you're a pro racer.
Yeah.
You're a pro trophy truck racer. Is that what we call you?
My full-time career for the last 15 years has been a professional navigator for trophy trucks, Baja 1000, Mint 400, all those kind of things.
Awesome. So let's back up. Let's start off. I want little Conor. Like,
all right.
Were you like racing big wheels and stuff? Well, you're too young for big wheels, bro.
No way, dude.
No?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had the plastic wheels. You do burnouts in them with the pedals and you burn holes in them.
My mom has this photo of me. I think I was maybe 3 or 4.
All right.
And I have my big wheel up on jack stands.
Yes.
And I'm laying underneath the back of it, wrenching on it. I don't even know what I was wrenching on.
There's nothing to wrench on.
Dude, I was making sure it was ready to go.
Roger this. So where were you born?
Arizona.
Okay.
Grew up in northern Arizona. And basically where I grew up, super rural. So there's kind of 2 options growing up. You were either into outdoors, off-roading, hunting, fishing, or drugs. That was your 2 options.
Yeah.
And so I went heavy into the outdoors.
Heavy into the drugs. No.
No. Heavy into the off-roading and just always being out in the desert.
So was racing a family thing?
It was. So
okay. That's usually, honestly, that's usually the case.
It's not like a typical family where you're like, my dad raced, my grandpa raced, and everything. I had a very gearhead uncle.
Okay.
No one raced professionally, all hobbies. Kind of my dad is the one who loves driving, would go do driving schools. A thing or two about those.
Yeah.
And so basically since I was a little kid, from my earliest memories, my mom used to call my babysitter Days of Thunder. So she taught me how to rewind VHS tapes. And I would watch Days of Thunder 4 or 5 times in a row.
He's not bumping. He's not hitting. No. He's rubbing.
Dude,
rubbing
is racing, man. And so ever since I can remember, 2, 3 years old, I would walk around and just be like, I want to race and build race cars. That was it.
Yeah.
And
here you are.
It carried through the rest of my life. Started racing go-karts.
Okay. Yeah. That's usually how a lot of kids start karting.
Yep.
Yeah.
Started racing go-karts when I think I was 6, 7.
And for the listeners, because I've driven shifter carts, like pro series shifter carts.
Yep.
So for the listeners, when he says go-karts, he doesn't mean like the Harbor Freight,
No,
3 horsepower,
the Coleman,
right? Yeah. No, the shifter karts, go-karts, true racing go-karts are probably the closest thing you could get into basically an F1 car, right? They sit about that far off the ground. They pull G's for real. Like, they're just on rails.
You have to wear rib protector vests because you'll break your ribs going in the corners.
Yeah, like crazy fast. Super, super high performance. So you grew up racing shifter karts.
Yep. All the different classes grew up. And then kind of got to the point where it was, my dad's always lived in North Carolina my whole life. And so, I'm like, all right, I want out of Arizona. So like the day after, college, I had my truck packed, everything ready. And my dad looked at me and goes, hey, look, I love you. You're 18 now. You got to start paying for stuff on your own. And racing's not a cheap sport. So
no, you know how you make $1 million racing, right?
You start with way more than that.
You start with 3 million, right?
Yeah,
that's
for
how you
sure.
make $1 million.
Yeah, for sure.
That's the joke. So 18, you decided to go. Did you go back to North Carolina?
Yeah. So I kind of went away from racing. My dad was, he's an awesome dad, but he definitely is was the very focused, career driven, wanted to provide a better financial future for me.
Yeah.
And so he was always just, hey, work. And so instantly I'm like, man, I want to go live near my dad and do whatever he does. So I moved back there and started a typical university, business and marketing, kind of went down that path.
Okay.
So
you realized that sucked.
Actually, it was about 3.5 years into my degree.
Yeah.
And I was at my girlfriend's house and watching an off-road video. Her mom looked at me and she goes, I've never seen anyone light up like you are right now. And I'm like, well, it's what I love.
Yeah.
And she's like, why don't you just go do it? And I kind of leaned back and I looked at her and I'm like, okay.
Done.
So I'm living in North Carolina and I go, yeah, copy that. I'm going to go to California and I'm going to go build trophy trucks.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, wait, we're sure. We're kind of what? And I was like, nope, done, going. Don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going.
So how tell us about, I want to hear about, like, because getting into professional racing is hard enough as it is. Like a lot of times getting into professional racing, like guys will start as mechanics or whatnot, but usually rarely do they translate from being a mechanic on a team, on a race team, to a driver or to a navigator. It's like usually like you said, you come up racing. You've got that pedigree. Like all the young racers that I know were racing shifter karts at a super highly competitive level and never left it. So how'd you get into the trophy truck stuff?
So to keep it as sweet and simple as possible, had that moment where I'm like, I'm moving to California, and literally pulled up good old Google and just started Googling schools, anything. Had no idea, had literally nothing. I mean, I was 21, 22. So, I mean, it was a full burn the ships moment.
That's it. Send it.
Yeah. Found a school out there, and basically what I did was, we're in North Carolina. That's a 40-something hour drive.
Yeah. Called
my buddy up and I was like, hey, I'm going to drive to California right now to go to this school. I'm just going to interview and turn around and drive right back. And he's like,
that's dumb.
I'm in, dude. No, he's like, I'm in. So we freaking Ironmanned it from North Carolina to basic SoCal.
Yeah.
Walked to the school. I looked at the owner of the school and I was like, I will be the best student that has ever been through here.
Now, when you say school, explain like.
So it's a school. It's called the Fab School. Basically, this guy started it named Troy Johnson, saw a big gap that needed high quality fabricators, design, engineering, all of that, brought it all in one package.
Okay.
So it's very tailored to race car design, engineering, fabrication, all of it.
Okay.
So yeah, I came out, checked it out. It was exactly what I kind of envisioned. And yeah, just
so it was a trade school for getting into racing teams and whatnot.
Yep.
Awesome. And how did you make the transition from that to actually getting in the cockpit of a truck?
So that was when I graduated. When I graduated school was 2008. So right in the middle of the crash.
Yeah.
So basically took 2 years, year and a half after I graduated school. and nothing. I was volunteering on race teams. Like I didn't even care. I'd volunteer on any race team. Yeah. And got to a point where I actually was signed up, ready to rock. I was going in the Navy. My whole family is Navy family. And I was like, hey, maybe I failed at this racing thing. Got all the way through MEPS, did everything, literally sitting in front of the person going, you know, hey, we've got this job, just
the job classifier, yeah.
And they wouldn't give me the one I wanted.
Yeah, they never do.
Yeah, and I'm like,
don't worry, once you get through your A school, then you can sign up for that. Don't worry about it.
Exactly. So basically had that feeling again of like, I'm failing, I'm running away from this. So I stood up, shook their hand, thanked them. And I said, sorry, I gotta follow my heart.
Yeah.
Drove out to Phoenix, Arizona, because at the time that's where the #1 trophy truck builder was. Didn't know anyone, did nothing. I'm like, I'll freaking live in my car. I don't even care. Walked in there and got intimidated. Literally.
For sure.
I'm
Absolutely.
like, holy crap, this is the big leagues.
Yeah.
And turned around and walked out of the building. Didn't talk to anyone.
Oh, no shit.
And yeah, like a month went by.
Yeah.
And I'm bartending and everything.
Kicking
and I'm
yourself.
like, walk back in there and right in the middle of like a team meeting. So I wasn't turning around and walking out because there's 30 guys staring
Everyone
at me.
looks, I was like,
oh yeah, dude. All the guys
who's this
are,
young rookie?
you know, all fresh meat, kind of thing.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. And basically walked up to the owner, Geyser Brothers, and told him the same thing, very similar to the owner of the school. I said, I will be the best employee you have ever hired. And there's no arguing that.
Yeah.
Very just, this is what's going to happen. And there's no questioning.
Yeah.
And he kind of looked at me. He's like, show up tomorrow at 7, give me a week's worth of work.
We'll see. We'll see, youngin.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So showed up at, early. I was sitting there chomping at the bit.
Right.
Like,
for sure.
Gosh.
Then you were 30 minutes early.
Dude. Yeah. And basically he, about an hour and a half into me working, walked me back into a team meeting. And he goes, hey, everyone, I want to introduce you to Conor. He's our newest employee. And I was like, copy. And so kind of did that. And then it was just a whirlwind.
Yeah.
Because he, I think he kind of was trying to break me after kind of coming out with a really cocky comment.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
for sure.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I would too.
Yeah.
I'd try to break you.
I was like, bring it. We had just started a big race team. And it was up and coming, building a bunch of new trucks. And one of them was kind of the first of its kind. It was an unlimited V6 truck. This was back in 2010, 2011. And I'd never crew chiefed a truck. None of that. I just knew how to build them. So he looked at me and he goes, you're in charge of that truck now. If you like your job, it will win all the races. Yes, sir. And basically just made sure it was the perfect truck, the cleanest, the nicest, all of it. Like, I didn't care if I was working 20 hours a day and sleeping under the truck at night.
Right.
Became really close with the driver. And so we kind of grew up together. I was his crew chief for 3 years. And it was just right place, right time. The owner of the race team was a billionaire out of Tennessee.
Usually they are.
Yep.
Yeah.
And got really close with all of them, just, team. And the driver, the Navigator decided he didn't want to do it anymore for whatever reason. And the driver at the time was like, I couldn't imagine anyone else sitting next to me. And so basically it was like, same thing. Hey, here's your opportunity. And it was like,
don't mess it up.
Yeah, no, it was same thing. I was like, in my brain, I'm like, the moment I get that chance, I will be the best Navigator. Yeah. And rest is kind of history.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. So, a lot of people don't know this, but racers are psychopaths. You got for real, like you guys are absolute psychopaths. And one of the things we share, I've done a lot of stuff in motorized vehicles. I've raced desert enduro, dirt bike stuff, like long, hard enduro stuff. I worked for Skip Barber Racing School for a while. Laguna Seca was one of my home tracks.
Such a sick
dude,
track, dude.
Sick track. We'll talk about that. Have you been on Laguna Seca?
Never on it, but I've been to it a bunch of times.
Oh my God, dude, the corkscrew. You go airborne. I mean, it's sick. So I've raced a bunch of tracks around the country. Worked for Skip Barber Racing School as one of their racing coaches, driving instructors, if you will. and you know, did a lot of stuff on dirt bikes, did some motorcycle stuff, never raced street bikes, but did a lot of like track events and track days and stuff. But I got into it like autocrossing as a young kid. What was your first car?
My first car?
Yeah.
First car was a Suzuki Samurai.
All right,
And it just didn't have enough power.
No, they have no power.
Nah. After that, dude, a 76 CJ7 with a big V8.
Okay, yeah, nice.
Yeah.
All right. So I went the sport route. I was like a Euro car kid.
Copy.
So I got an old 16 valve Volkswagen GTI.
There you go.
You know, I think it was 1987, little round headlights and stuff. And same thing. Like it was like, but no power. Like it had like, I don't know, it had like 130 horsepower or something in it, you know? But yeah, I was like a little gearhead, little Euro car brat, you know? And then I got into trucks and stuff and then got into off-roading through working, contracting for the government, going to driving schools and then eventually teaching on those driving schools, doing a lot of off-road stuff. But yeah, it's a bucket list of mine to run a trophy truck in something. I would love to do Baja. I want to do Baja, whether maybe not the 1000 off the gate, but like I would love to drive or navigate like part of Baja. That's a bucket list thing of mine. So craziest like race story.
Dude,
I know you probably got to tell. You showed me last time we were together. You showed me a video of a horrific crash.
Yeah, that was a good one. That was a good one. And man, do you want like a scary one where I'm getting like? Do you want like give me a context?
I want
dude.
all of them, man. So wait, so let's go back. You and your driver Ironmanned the Baja 1000.
So that was fast forward quite a few years into my career.
Right, but you still that's like a feat.
Yeah. So
and tell the listeners, for those that don't know, tell like what Ironmanning the Baja 1000
So
is.
Ironmanning the 1000 was the phrase was coined from Ivan Ironman Stewart. Basically, he would just no other drivers. Yeah. So typically in a long race, you have 2 sets of drivers, 3 sets of drivers. When I say drivers, driver, navigator, team.
Yeah, and you guys rotate because it is brutal inside the cockpit of a race vehicle. Absolutely brutal.
Everyone kind of, it's like the same thing. And please lend some credibility to this because as I've told you before, massive respect for the soft community. Just what all of you go through. It's not always fun. It sounds glamorous. It's, oh, dude, I want to be an operator and everything. It's not. Same thing.
Most of the time, it's not fun.
Yeah. Same thing with racing a trophy truck. People go, oh, do you want to race a trophy truck? No.
You got to know what you're getting into.
It sucks.
Yeah.
There's nothing fun about it.
No, it's gritty. It's hot. You're getting bounced around like crazy. Your body's pulling G's. If you got to piss, you piss right in your race suit. Like,
yeah, we wear catheters.
You wear catheters now? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oof, yeah. I did some like 24-hour motocross enduro events, and dude, I just would not want to stop it. I just be on the bike, just pissing in my pants. You know.
It's we'll get back to your original question of craziest story, but I mean, in a single race, and the reason we switch drivers out is in a single race, you'll go because you're covering 1,000 miles. That's what a lot of people don't comprehend. They're like, oh, so it's like a NASCAR track. You're like, no, it's like driving from, LA to Oregon
on the bumpiest, worst, most technical, dustiest, dirtiest terrain with other trucks that are doing 100+ miles an hour that can't see through the dust.
Yep.
Yeah.
So in a typical, the most predominant one, Baja 1000, you'll go through 100 and something degree temperatures. Yep. You'll go through snow. I've raced through forest fires. You'll go through ocean. You'll go through lake beds, washes, booby traps.
Yeah.
Everything. I've had people, here's a super quick, crazy one just popped in, coming down a section of the course called Mike's Sky Ranch. And we're, whoa, maybe 80, 90 miles an hour. And the driver just, wham, his head goes back. And he's like, dude, grab the wheel. So the locals start getting drunk. And when we're coming, they'll just throw rocks up in the air. And so they just throw a rock up in the air and we drive through them. Snakes. I've had snakes, like they throw dead snakes in. So you don't know if it's dead or not. Next thing you know, snakes flopping around inside the truck.
I mean, I've heard stories about the locals down in Mexico, down Baja, like digging out holes and
big
setting booby traps and stuff for the vehicles.
Oh yeah.
But I didn't know they're throwing shit at you guys.
Oh yeah, all the time. Yeah,
throwing snakes.
So
yeah, no thanks.
Getting back to what you're talking about, Ironmanning.
Yeah.
So Ironmanning is when you do the whole thing. You never get out of the
there's
truck.
no driver change. No driver navigator change. You're sending it.
Yeah. So this was 4 or 5 years ago now. So I was a decent way into my career. Had 20, 30,000 miles under my belt, and kind of the same moment of looking at the right person and just being like, hey, I want to do this. So I looked at them, I'm like, hey, we got 2 drivers racing for a very predominant team, NASCAR sponsor. And I said, who's the other navigator going to be? And they're like, there isn't going to be one. And I was like, yeah, I'll Ironman it. Let's do it. And they're like, okay,
cool. Step up.
Yeah. And so it was 2 drivers, and then I never got out.
Yeah.
So I was in the truck for 20.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. How long?
23 hours.
23 hours, yeah.
And it was like, of course, man, the first time I ever get to Ironman one, it was the worst storm the 1,000 has ever experienced. First time in history, the Baja 1000 was delayed because of weather.
Oh, wow.
Ensenada flooded. Like, the track was flooded away. The entire track was mud. Like, dude, it was.
Yeah, that's rough. Man, I could only imagine like that many hours in a truck in those conditions. Cause I know like I used to wear a heart rate monitor when I would race desert enduro, Now granted, I'm on a dirt bike, but still doing 100 miles an hour in a trophy truck, you're bouncing around like crazy. You're stabilizing your body. All your muscle fibers are fast twitching to stabilize yourself. You're getting run ragged. You're sucking in, I know,
everything.
You've got air in your helmet and stuff, but you're sucking in dust and dirt. And
so on that race, because it was so muddy and bad, I went through all my tear-offs, which are the protective on your visor. Went through all my tear-offs, and I scratched my visor cleaning it so much. So I had to do 80 or 100 miles with my visor open. So, I mean, dude, you're rocks like and dirt and mud, and it's cold, So I had to do a visor change, and then like literally got a photo of me, and like I'm like cleaning my eyes out just so I can see, because I was only 400 miles into a 900-mile race.
Yeah. So it's crazy. Yeah, I mean, I'd read the data from my heart rate monitor, and we're talking. This was when I was really tracking. These were 2-hour enduro races in the desert. So, we'd run 100 to 150 kilometers each race in the desert. Mm-hmm. And my heart rate was 170 the majority of the time.
I believe it.
I'd burn 1,000 plus calories.
Oh, yeah.
And you're just smashed, smoked. I remember driving home from these races, and I wouldn't be able to grab the steering wheel in my truck. I'd load the bike in the back of my truck, and I'd like use my forearms on the steering wheel to drive, because my hands are permanently like cramped up like this.
Yep.
So I can only imagine. Now you're talking like you did freaking 20 something hours in a truck.
It was like 23.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy because, dude, we're going back to talking about it's not fun. I mean, in that race, sorry to get too graphic, but my catheter fell off.
Yeah.
So I was covered in piss.
Yep.
I puked on myself.
Yep.
It all froze on you. Then it gets hot.
And then
And then it gets hot, and then it freezes again. Yeah. And then it's all covered in mud and dust, and you're just like, you're like, this isn't
glamorous.
No, at all.
It's not like Cole Trickle in Days of Thunder.
No, but the crazy point is the crazy part is you do all that, Kay, and people are listening. I'm like, man, that's just why. And it's kind of like some of the things you've gone through.
Because it's the raddest thing ever.
You get to the end of it, and you're like, I would do it again.
Actually, besides that, dude, like going fast in whatever it is you're in is awesome. Like you and I could go rent 2 like of the cheapest little rental cars right now, and we'll be racing. And as fast as those cars can go, we're going to take them there. And it ain't going to be that fast compared to a race car, but we're going to have a blast.
Oh, yeah.
Because going fast is cool, like plain and simple, which is amazing to me. And it's like these trophy trucks, and we were talking earlier, but I think what a lot of people don't understand is what these trophy trucks are. They're not a Ford Raptor.
No.
They're not a Ram TRX. They're not it's it's nothing resembles a factory truck that you can go in and buy.
Yep. So all of like those things you just mentioned, Raptor, TRX, they all take technology from the racing world.
Absolutely.
And try to put it into
it's a marketing ploy. It's really a marketing ploy.
They're one-off, you know, $800,000 to $1 million trucks. They're now 1,200 horsepower, 40-inch tires. You know, we got 2 shocks per wheel. Add the shock diameter. We got basically 7-inch diameter shocks, you know, worth of shocks on each corner.
So you're running like 3.5-inch shocks.
So we got a 4.5-inch bypass, which is the workhorse. That's the muscle.
Right.
And then you have a 3-inch coilover.
Okay.
So you got 7.5 inches of shock.
So for like for the listeners out there, like if you go and put a brand new, like, you know, Carly suspension on your truck, and I mentioned Carly because I'm getting a Carly set up for my Ram. You know, my shocks, my King shocks that will go on it, 2.5, right? 2.5 inch. And that's it. Yeah. Like my when I was running my GX, I remember my shocks were 2-inch. And now you're talking like you have 2 of those, you have a 3 and a 4.5, you know?
Oh, yeah. So here, like, you'll dig this analogy, man. And it's a trophy truck is like the embodiment of just raw power.
Oh, 100%.
Like it's hard to put into words because you see, you know, someone that everyone's probably going to know on here that you guys definitely all know is BJ Baldwin.
Yeah. BJ and our buddies. BJ's an awesome dude.
So he does cool things, great with truck control and everything. But what's hard to convey is you see the cool videos, the trucks going across the desert, but what it actually is, I mean, the bumps are the size of this table.
Oh yeah.
You know, 3.5 feet tall.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking whoops and stuff that you could almost fit a Volkswagen in.
Oh, for sure. For sure. And, you know, so there's a good section called in San Felipe called Zoo Road. And the whoops they're long, but they're 25 yards apart. So you have these holes, and the holes are 3 feet deep, 3.5 feet deep. So the thing is what you have to do when you go into that is you have to get the harmonics right. Yeah. Because if you, and it, depending on the truck setup, the truck we race in right now, I'll use that one for an example. It gets angry at 70 miles an hour because you're falling into those holes.
Okay.
So the truck will get like this whoom, whoom. Yeah. If you get too fast, you know, 110, 115, it starts skating because now you're just barely touching the tops. Yeah. And it'll start floating back and forth. What's crazy is it's about 95 miles an hour, 95 to 100. It's
the sweet spot.
It's just like the truck like settles down.
Yeah.
And you can like hold on with like one hand and things just whoa, 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 whoa. What you forget is a 40-inch tire is 150 pounds. Okay. So you have 2 of those. You have 7.5 inches of shock on each corner mounted at your back shoulder.
Yeah.
You have 1,200 horsepower naturally aspirated. So it's just a big
V8, big block V8s.
Block, just as gnarly as they get. And you're going across this and it's just whoa, 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 whoa. And you can hit the gas and they'll accelerate. That's the crazy part where you're just whoa, 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 whoa. And then you hit it and the thing just like sets you back in the seat off, and you're just like, man.
You know, it's hard. I've never been in a trophy truck. So even for me, it's kind of hard to convey. Now I've been in some Formula 3 cars, Formula Fords. I've driven every supercar you can imagine, you know, from McLarens to Porsche GT3 RSs. Yeah. Trying to think of like I've driven some world rally championship cars. One of the schools I worked for, we had a Renault Clio, WRC car. That was just that's my hands down. If you said, hey, pick your favorite car you've ever driven or raced, that'd be it. But for the listeners, it's so hard to comprehend. After you listen to this podcast, go out on a dirt gravel road in your Ford F-150 or whatever you're driving and try to hit 50 miles an hour. Just do that. Just do that on the smoothest gravel road and then think he's doing 100 through whoops that are 3 to 4 feet deep. Yeah. You know, at 100 miles an hour.
What's just crazy is like, I mean, you know this firsthand. You drive vehicles that are designed for what they're supposed to do. You know, when you're running some of your cars, you can run around those tracks and you feel comfortable. Yeah. And you just get used to that pace and that speed. And it doesn't feel like you're going as fast as you actually are.
No.
Same with a trophy truck. I mean, you'll be going across stuff and you're like, man, this is kind of boring right now. And we're doing 70.
And that's the term in racing too, is if it looks slow, it's probably fast.
Yeah.
You know, like all these, like the new thing is drifting, right? Well, I say new thing, but it's fairly new thing is like the drifting and stuff. And it's like when cars or trucks are wild and crazy out of control and going back and forth, like that's actually a lot slower than a nice tight line and, you know, a nice straight track through whoops and stuff. So when it looks slow and unexciting, it's like, this racing stuff's boring. That's when you're hauling mail.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, dude. I've never been in a trophy truck.
We're gonna get you in one.
That's a bucket list for me, dude. I'll give you a kiss, bro.
Yeah, we're gonna get you in one, dude.
But
like, just get that big old smile when you get out of there, man. Because it's just like you can't help.
You can't help it, dude.
It's funny, like you know, and here I do want to like make sure we respect the Mike Force podcast and like the military stuff, because
we're gonna get into that too, because there's a lot of crossover, and that's how I got into. That's how I got into the high level racing and off road. So we'll definitely get into that, because there's a massive crossover.
So what's crazy is this last weekend, today's Monday or Tuesday. Yeah. So Saturday, Sunday, went out and ran almost 800 miles in one of the trucks. And you go through life, get stressed and everything like that. But like you jump in a truck and everyone says it's the best 1,000 horsepower therapy you can get.
100%.
You know, it just clears everything up.
Well, you have no choice but to not think about anything.
That's it.
But that moment.
That's it.
Eyes far, eyes long, tracking, right? You know, it's like, and that's all you can think about.
You're not pulling your cell phone out. You're not answering emails.
Nope.
Like,
your brain's nowhere else. But like, what's down there, what's down there, what's down there. And it's like same thing, like running Laguna Seca, running Lime Rock was a cool old track. And there's one section of Lime Rock where if you're hitting it right and you're on pace, you're catching air. And if you're not on the right side of the track, you're then hitting the wall. You know, and it's like everything's got to be dialed in. Everything's dialed in. One of the last turns at Road Atlanta, last turn, big downhill right-hander. Then the wall is right in front of you, big concrete wall right in front of you before the front straight. And if you panic and you lift at all, and by lift, I mean you come off the throttle, you know,
it upsets the car.
Bro, if you lift off the throttle at all, you're throwing the weight forward, you're losing that rear traction, and you're gonna slide in the wall, and you need to stay in it and just go. There's the wall. I want to look at it because I'm terrified of it. I got to look this way and just
you will go where your eyes are looking.
100%. Yeah, and just send it. But that's the thing. You cannot think about anything other than what you're doing at the moment, which is why I love it. And that's why I love riding motorcycles and dirt bikes too, because that's my therapy. I went off for a ride on my own on Sunday. It was like, all you can think about is like, wow, just don't die. Yeah. Don't crash and die. Yeah. You know? So
hey, to ADD on you real quick.
Yeah.
You're talking about stories. Here's a quick one that was pretty good. I had that big crash you were talking about.
Yeah, dude, that video was gnarly. If you send me that video, I'll post that video on my Instagram once this gets released.
Okay. So yeah, we went over it. It wasn't about 98, I think 98, 100. Went over 4.5 times.
Oh, nothing. Yeah, 98 miles an hour, 100 miles an hour.
Yeah, the trucks take it well.
I know.
The trippy part was we just passed a guy.
Yeah,
and I was telling you this where our roof was facing up the track.
For sure.
If you'd have blown through the dust and missed the corner, I wouldn't be sitting here right now.
And that's the scary. That's part of the scariest part is traffic coming up behind you.
Oh yeah, for sure. So San Felipe 250 and kind of desert racing. We always, it's just our brains work. Oh, this year, this race and everything. But it was like 2015 and San Felipe, the start of it. So we're 5 miles in. And I remember when we were staging, BJ was staged right behind us. So it's kind of a crazy feeling. You're like looking in the rearview mirror and you see BJ back there. And you're like, all right.
BJ's a wild man. He's an awesome dude. On our
A game.
He's an awesome dude, but he's a wild man.
Yeah. And so I'm talking to the driver. I'm like, hey, BJ just went off the line because I keep track of times. And I'm like, our pace is good and blah, blah, blah. And so we're going in this one section. We have it marked. It's a right 5. So it's a really high speed right turn. And on the exit of it, it's like this big dead kind of tree. And, right at the exit. So I'm like, okay, hey, coming into the corner, blah, blah, blah.
And you had that in your pace notes when you pre-ran it.
Yep. So I've got this big screen in front of me and I basically read all of our notes. Yep. And he's like, okay, yep, got it. And the truck keeps sliding sideways. Dude, that tree, we're 90 miles an hour. we freaking T-boned that tree on my door. And a branch, like literally all I remember, we're sliding up to it. And I just remember it's like an explosion, wood everywhere. My entire body went like numb, like when your arm goes to sleep.
Yeah.
My entire body went like that. And then I couldn't breathe. And I'm like trying to breathe. And it was like, okay, wind's knocked out of me or something.
Yeah.
I still couldn't breathe. And I'm like, then I started to like panic. Cause I'm like, dude, I have a freaking log through me.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
punctures right through the door, through the door panel.
And I'm like, can't breathe, still can't breathe. And I'm like, hey, this is way too long. And the driver's like, hey, you good? You good? I couldn't talk, couldn't breathe. Finally started to like get around, try to get a little bit of air. And I'm like, body's still tingling. And I'm like, dude, I don't want to reach down and touch like anything. I don't want to feel, a big tree sticking out of me.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh crap. All right, here we go. So I take my right arm's done. I can move my left arm. And like, I start feeling around. I'm like, everything still feels like a shoulder. Nothing's sticking out of me. Okay. So like I unzip my suit and like stick my hand in.
Yeah,
like
doing a blood sweep.
Yeah.
I've done that too.
I pull my hand out and there's blood on it. And I'm like,
that's not a good sign.
I'm like, crap.
Yeah.
So I take my right arm, tuck it inside my race suit, kind of like a sling, and zip it up. And that was at race mile 5:10, somewhere right in there, at a 250-mile race. And so did the rest of the race like that. Because I'm like, I always made a rule to myself, the only time I get pulled out of a truck is if I'm dead.
Yeah.
And I'm
like, I mean, you could have been dead.
I'm like, well,
yeah. I mean, if you had a serious arterial bleed, bro, like another 2 or 3 minutes, bro, you could have been shut down.
And so did the rest of the race, get out and look at my window net. And my window net, giant hole in it, and sliced a branch, 2.5-inch diameter branch, came through the window net right in front of me, and we drove through it. And it basically just hit me like a baseball bat.
Right.
My entire shoulder and everything was like one big hematoma.
Hematoma. Yeah.
Yeah, hematoma. Dude, it was all swollen up like a big blood blister. For sure.
You just got hit with a baseball bat, bro.
Yeah.
At 100 miles an hour.
Yeah. And so there, random story. You're talking about stories.
Dude, I mean, you're like hella lucky though.
Yeah.
Like, obviously what we do here, we do a lot of medical and trauma training. And it's like, do you guys carry tourniquets in your trucks?
No.
You should.
No. I agree. We should.
You should carry tourniquets because literally, like, God forbid that actually like punctured your arm or sliced your brachial artery or something. You'd be dead. You'd be dead.
Yeah.
And like you check that, you see a lot of blood, man. Put a tourniquet on and save your life. All right, you need to start carrying tourniquets in your trucks.
Now we'll get into that.
All right,
stepping up the med kits is something that we're all going to start working on in the trucks.
Good. All right, cool. Yeah, because I mean I had a similar situation on dirt bikes in the desert, and I'm riding back, and it was just a ride. We were kind of same thing. We were like pre-running this area in the desert that we were going to race at. And we're coming back to the trucks, and we're hauling mail. I'm like 4th or 5th gear pinned. Probably
you're moving.
Oh, dude, 80 something miles an hour in the desert. And the sun's falling. And the way the sand is, when the sun falls a certain degree, you start to lose, the deal. Oh, yeah. You start to lose the terrain a little bit. And I'm bar to bar with a buddy of mine. We're in front of everybody, just full tilt. And I hit a bump that I did not see. And it sent me up in the air.
Those are the worst.
And my bike up in the air. And I mean, I had to have been 15 feet in the air, tumbling through, and I went through a desert tree. And I literally like saw the tree.
Dude, those are gnarly greasewoods.
Dude, crazy. And I balled up like, here we go. I'm about to get stabbed.
Yeah.
And I ball up and I crunch through the edge of the branches. My bike goes straight through it. I land on the other side. And I hit the ground, and all I remember is when I hit the ground, I go, oh, and I'm like, oh, and I'm just groaning and groaning and groaning. Well, I feel a massive, like, just release and wetness, and my face is all mangled. What I didn't realize, my face is mangled because my helmet got smushed to the side. Oh. So it was smushing my nose, but I thought it was my face, bro. Knocked the wind out of me, knocked me a little bit, like I got like a flash knockout. And now all my buddies have caught up, and they're all standing around me. And I'm laying there in the sand, groaning still. Dude. And I'm like,
those are the worst ones. When you don't get up and you're just like, did you get a video or something?
Dude,
no, when you're just groaning,
no. Well, they're literally like, bro, we were about to call life flight on you. And I'm laying there, and I'm like, I'm laying there. I stop groaning. I'm starting to get my breath back, starting to be able to breathe again. And I wiggle my toes. I'm like, all right, I can wiggle my toes.
Are there, we're good.
And like I'm laying on my hands and I wiggle my fingers. Okay. I'm like, now let me see how messed up my face is. Like I probably don't have any teeth anymore. My nose is like, because it's smushed, bro. You know, my helmet's smushy, but I didn't realize that. And I like walk my hand up and I slide it inside my helmet and I pull my glove out and I look and there's no blood. It's not blood. It's like mucus. It like expelled all the snot and mucus out of my sinuses, dude.
Dang, dude.
And I'm like, what's going on? I remember doing this.
There's easier ways to clean your sinuses
I know, right?
out.
And I remember taking my tongue and going over my teeth and go, oh, I got all my teeth. Oh, my mouth's not messed up. And I move my helmet and I go into the turtle position, like a fetal position on my hands and knees. I take a big breath. I'm like, I think I'm okay. And I jump up and I start doing jumping jacks in front of my buddies. And I go, let's go, you know, say some excellent. I try not to cuss on here, but I'm like, let's go, you pussies, you know. And I get on my bike, I straighten my handlebars, the thing fires up, and I take off. And they're all like, I'll meet you at the trucks. And they're like, dude, we thought you were dead, bro. Like, yeah. So I got a little idea of what you went through.
I like that you ran the full systems check.
Yeah, dude. Bro, I mean, literally I had to do full systems check because I thought, I was like, for sure. I'm like, for sure, like I'm paralyzed or something's broken or I'm bleeding out or my face is mangled. Like something's wrong. There's no way. And it was just by a complete stroke of luck. And a bunch of the guys that I rode with that race professional, like, they're like, dude, that was the worst crash I've ever seen. Like, I don't know how you, and I always tell people,
bikes are
like,
the worst, man. Bikes.
Dude, it's sketch.
I'm spoiled. I've always had a cage
around me.
Always.
It's sketch. And like, you know, I've always said like, I'm not that good at anything and I'm not that like tough, but for whatever reason, and like, this is just genetics, I guess, or God made me this way, is I have like tough bones and thick skin, like leather. Like it's hard, knock on wood, right? But it's like, it's hard for me to break bones. It's hard for me to like get cut. It's hard for me to get knocked out. I'm just like, I'm built durable for whatever reason.
Yeah,
it's just
durable.
It's nothing I do. Like I'm not good at anything.
What's the old saying, dude? You better be like smart and
like
if you can't be smart,
you better be tough.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Yeah.
If you can't, you better be tough. That's right. Yeah, if you can't be smart, you better be tough.
Yeah.
So kind of going back like to the military side of stuff is obviously like in special operations in particular, a lot of the contracting stuff that I did, even some of the SWAT stuff that I did. You know, obviously we use vehicles for insertion platforms. We use vehicles for reconnaissance platforms. A lot of stuff now, side by sides. Four-wheelers, dirt bikes. But even a lot of our other vehicles are like these high speed, like we used to have the old desert patrol vehicles, the DPVs, the old with a Volkswagen Chenoweth motor in it and stuff. And it was the worst. Worst vehicle ever.
One of my instructors at the school was like, when he was younger, he was like, we had to build so many of those.
Yeah.
Like it's where he was learning to weld.
Burning
those things
Tube chassis, Volkswagen motor. Yeah, Lily wants to get her love. Everybody, Lily will do a cameo before we finish up. But so, you know, we would go through these driving schools. Every workup we ever went to, every course or vetting I ever went to, we'd go through these driving schools. And we would do on-road vehicle dynamic stuff, usually in Crown Victorias on racetracks. And then we would do some rally driving. We'd get these old beater BMWs or Volkswagens. We would use rear-wheel drive, front-wheel drive to learn all the different, some all-wheel drive because obviously they track differently. Some you countersteer, some you don't countersteer, et cetera, et cetera. Some understeer more than some oversteer them more. And she wants her attention right now.
Dude, randomly, I love that she's like the most intimidating looking dog. People do not pet. She just looks like she'll just kill you. She literally looks like she'll like tear you apart in like 2 seconds.
And she's just a
love, big
dude.
old lover.
She wants love. Mama, come here. Get over here. Go Platz. And so I got to go to all these awesome like high-end driving schools. And then we would do the technical off-road schools as well. Just we had some modified Jeeps. We had some modified Xteras, modified, what was the Nissan pickup trucks? The little ones, not the Titans.
Frontiers.
The Frontiers. We had some modified of those, drive old Jeep XJs, whatever the school had. And then we would take these things over gnarly terrain and learn how to use traction boards and learn how to winch out, learn how to snatch people out, learn how to, you know, articulate and you get over obstacles and stuff. Yeah. So that's kind of how I got this. But a lot of like, we would hire guys like you. Like we would bring in high-end off-road racers and race car drivers to come teach us this stuff.
Yeah, one of my, I got to use the term loosely, mentor, but someone I really look up to is a professional navigator. His name's Kellen Walsh. Okay. Just a bad to the bone dude. Raced everything, Dakar, all of it. He kind of taught me navigating and how to be a navigator in the truck, a co-driver. That's what he would do. He would go and teach different units. And, you know, navigation, driving, everything. So,
well, that's what's cool, you know, because especially in special operations, they would bring in subject matter experts from the quote unquote civilian world. So like I've been to schools with, you know, world champion competitive shooters. They've never carried a gun for a living in harm's way in their life, but they're the best pistol or carbine or long range precision rifle shooters out there competitively. They would come teach us some shooting stuff. You know, we would have race car drivers come in and teach us racing stuff. We'd have, you know, doctors and surgeons and vets come in and teach us live tissue trauma stuff, just to give us all like pick from you guys. So it's like all these guys think, like a lot of these guys out there think like special operations dudes are like the best at everything. They're not. They're probably generally mediocre at everything, but they have the whole package. Whereas you're the best at off-road racing. A buddy of mine's the best at competitive pistol shooting. Another buddy of mine's the best at this. And we try to draw from you guys, which is what I think is cool. And like, you know, now you're doing something with your own company. So it's called The Mounting Company.
Yeah, I went super simple on it.
Super simple, The Mounting Company. You're doing it on the side right now, but it's you've come up with a really rad like idea, and it's essentially a quick release locking mechanism. Where you can put a lightweight aluminum. Is it aluminum base plate? Right. So a lightweight aluminum base plate on Pelican cases, any hard plastic cases, and you even mounted it to one of our soft duffel bags, right?
Oh yeah.
And literally click, and it's in and locked in place. And if you need to get it, you pull one handle out, one pin, boom, and it releases. So for me, I think that's really cool because I was telling you a story. We used to strap everything down with ratchet straps, you know, and I know a dude who was killed by a floor jack that was ratchet strapped into one of our armored Suburbans.
Yeah, unacceptable.
Came loose on a crash. Wasn't even an ambush, wasn't even an attack. It was a crash. And it came loose, and that floor jack hit him in the head and killed him. You know, we had more robust, secure mounting options. And look, this is what's crazy. Guys are still ratchet strapping stuff down to their vehicles. So, you know, when I saw that at Overland Expo, I was like, light bulb, ding, I got applications for this. And hopefully we can get that out to some of the guys.
Yeah, kind of the goal with it was really born. One of the teams I was volunteering on, we lost a race because we used to use little straps to hold the toolkits in, and some things on the trucks we can change out pretty quick. And we got silt in the bottom of the car. Silt gets wet, it straight up turns into concrete. Can't get the straps out, can't get the tools out. You lose the race, time, money, all of it. And so they just kind of looked at me and they were like, figure out a better way. So same thing with you, going to different subject matter experts. Hey, what would you do? What would you do? Would you compile all these ideas together? What we came up with is, you know, a self-aligning quick release mount. Did that in 2009.
Okay.
And racing just took my life over. And so I kind of put it on the back burner. We used it in the race trucks, but only for the race trucks.
Right.
About a year and a half ago. I don't know how many people throughout the last 10 plus years have been like, do something with that, do something with that. I'm like, you know, kind of roll my eyes.
Whatever.
Finally, it just clicked. It was like, this is time. Let's improve it and let's make it universal. So we tried to do, you know, a handful of sizes, same concept. And the thing is, you know, in racing, we're winning races by 9 seconds.
Right.
guys get into firefights, and you've told me stories. I talked with Mike Glover for a little bit. He's told me stories at one of the Overland Expos where, you're in a firefight. The last thing that people need to do is worry about their ratchet strap or how come they can't get their hard case or their gear out of there.
Yeah.
And also when you're exfilling, you're getting out of there. Hey, strap it all back down. Yeah. It's like, no, dude. Like,
don't scuttle, leave it behind or dump it in the back or whatnot. Yeah.
And so kind of just, test them, prove them in the racing industry, put them through the worst conditions we possibly can. Now it's, hey, how do we get these out there to make a better way for, soldiers and different people to, be quicker.
Yeah.
If we're faster and we're better, we're going to win.
And that relates to exigent circumstances as well. So what helps you win races by being faster, more efficient, will help guys stay alive by being faster, more efficient with their equipment. So it's a perfect synergy. I'm excited to see my guys get their hands on it.
It's kind of like everything in life. I mean, like I've said, and I don't want to be a broken record, I obviously did not go the military path, but the amount of respect and lessons I've learned from different people listening to podcasts. Hey, Willie Pat, I got you, girl. I got you. Just listening to different people and the amount of lessons, massive respect for that community. And so winning is the ultimate goal. Winning, if you're racing, you're doing it to win.
For sure, 100%.
If you're going on special operations or a war, what's the goal?
You're doing it to win.
To win.
You're doing it to win.
Yeah, so we better be faster and stronger and better. Yeah. And hopefully this is a little slice of what the racing world can offer that.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, man. I'm a bit envious, bro. Like I want to, it's been a bucket list of mine. So I hit one of my bucket list items, right? Which was to go drive a race car in the Nürburgring.
Which is sick.
Dude.
Sick. See, that's about my bucket list thing. Like, dang, dude.
One of the scariest track I've ever been on. One of the scariest experiences I've ever done in my life. And I've done some pretty scary shit. Mm-hmm. But I was smart enough to hire a local racing driver. Mm-hmm. And I said, hey, dude, take me out for a hot lap first. Mm-hmm. He's an Irish dude. He's thick Irish accent. Mm-hmm. He's like, fuck it, it's your money.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want you to take me for a hot lap. I want to see where you're placing the car.
Yeah.
Talk me through where you're placing the car. Talk me through what gear you're in, yada, yada. So he takes me for a hot lap. You'll never memorize it. It's like 73 turns.
Dude, it's insane.
It's crazy long. And so we came in from the hot lap. We swapped seats. And he goes, I'm just going to read you rally notes. Mm-hmm. I'm going to read you super simplified rally notes. Little did I know, this dude has the world record lap time on a motorcycle on the Nürburgring.
Really?
So yeah, sick. And he's just reading me rally notes. And I'm in a BMW 3
Makes
Series
a big difference,
cup touring car. Dude, next thing you know, by lap 3, dude, I'm passing dudes in Ferraris. I'm passing dudes in GT2s and GT3s and stuff like this in a 3 Series BMW Touring Cup car.
Yeah.
It was a cage-built race car, but it's still just a 3 Series motor, and it was rad. So hopefully you can get me in a trophy truck. Man.
We're going to get you in one,
I'll take you up on that.
We're going to get you in one. It's crazy, too. And I know you know this feeling about just trusting the guy next to you.
Yeah, for sure.
There's been guys I've raced with where I'm like, hey, all right, cool. This isn't going to work. But then there's guys where you're like a real team.
Yeah.
And it's crazy how much faster you can go.
100%. Like, trust and confidence is everything.
One of the guys I've clicked with the most, and he actually has become a good friend of mine, is a NASCAR driver. He's retired now, Casey Mears.
Okay.
Dude, when we were in the truck, our comms went out. So we couldn't talk to each other. So instantly I just started pulling hand signals.
Yeah.
Dude, we were hitting corners. He just picked up on it right away. And it's that thing, man, where you're coming into a bad situation. You know what the guy next to you is going to do. We're coming into a corner that's blind. Right. We're doing 100. And I tell him it's a right 5.
Yeah.
He is going to stay in the gas and drive it like a right 5. If I screw up and that's a cliff, we're going off that cliff. For sure. And we're not going to go home and see our family.
As a navigator, then he's going to question that, and he's going to slow down.
And we're going
to
lose time.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Crazy. The parallels are pretty impressive, man.
It's super parallel, and confidence, competence is everything. Having confidence in your team, your teammates, is everything, and it is a matter of living or dying.
Yeah,
whether it's our world or your world, it's a matter of living and dying, and a lot of people don't understand that. And
I'm not getting shot at, but locals do try to Locals
100
love to
plus
see you get
miles an
hurt.
hour in a trophy truck going through some of that terrain and then rolling over into a tree will get you killed just as quick as a bullet.
Yeah.
You know, it really will. And it's just a matter of comfort level. What are you comfortable with? I'll be more scared in a trophy truck with you than I would be going into a gunfight with a team.
Yeah, copy.
Just because it's not toughness. It's just that's what I'm used to. You know, whereas now I'm doing 100 miles an hour trophy. I'm like, dude, don't kill me, bro. You know?
Yeah.
So it's all relative and vice versa for you. You'll be comfortable in a trophy truck. And if I tell you, hey, dude, there's some bad guys around the corner. Here's a M4. We're going to go kill them real quick. You'd be like, what?
Dude, all right.
What?
All right, I'm in, but I'm not going to be like, let's do it. But
you know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
it's just a matter. It's all relative. It's all relative. It doesn't make one person tougher or more badass than the other. It's all what your experience is. So, dude, I appreciate we got the notification. We're the 5 minute mark.
5 minute mark.
But dude, I really appreciate you coming down. What's next for you? What's next for you? What's next for the mountain company?
Growing. It's growing quickly. So heading to Overland Expo, Pacific Northwest right now, in Redmond, Oregon. After
this
that,
won't be out in time. I think this will come out Friday.
Yeah, copy.
So
it'll be when it comes out. We'll be at Overland Expo.
You'll be at Overland Expo. Okay.
Yep. Just spreading the word and getting it out there. Racing wise, got a bunch of races coming up. Next big one's in August. Hopefully we'll get you out there for testing.
Yeah.
And then just racing as much as possible. So definitely didn't get to hit on one topic I wanted to today, but I'm hoping after the last podcast that was just released, I'm looking forward to when you start talking about, brain injuries and stuff like that, because another unfortunate parallel, and we'll keep it super quick. Is I've started to notice getting beat up in the trucks for a long time. For sure. I listen to guys like yourself talk and other people, different podcasts, and you go like, yeah, I'm not an NFL player. I'm not, a special operator, but like, dude, every single one of those symptoms you guys are talking about, you start to notice it.
Well, I'm curious, like actual, like data wise.
Dude, it's like literally getting in a car crash nonstop.
Yeah, right. Not to mention just racing alone, just your head bouncing. Yeah. But then how many crashes have you been in?
Some, good ones.
Where, boom, that rocks your noggin.
Your last podcast, you're talking about, you went through like a 2-week episode where you're kind of like foggy.
Yeah.
After every race now, it's my wife's kind of like, hey, like it's 2 or 3 days. Like, now it's crazy. You get to that point in your career where you're like, hey. For sure. How old are you? 37.
37. You've been racing for how long?
15 years.
Yeah, man. I'm
very, very curious about this topic now.
Yeah, that's why I've got a good bit of TBI. Yeah. I've figured out some things and some supplements and some stuff that I take that helps me nullify my symptoms quite a bit. Vitamin E, CoQ10, but the biggest thing that's helped me is the stuff that I take called BioPro.
Okay.
Right. And I don't want to make this a commercial for BioPro, but I've been on BioPro now for 2 years, and it's virtually completely eliminated my TBI. And the last couple of weeks, my TBI kind of kicked off. Couple of reasons. One, there's some stuff going on that's created a lot of stress in my life, and I haven't been sleeping very good. But 2, I went back to my old team and we did a whole day of explosive breaching and stuff. So that usually rings my bell a little bit and kind of reignites it for a little time. But the BioPro stuff has virtually cured my TBI symptoms, which is wild. Talk about that more. So yeah, we can talk about that. But that's been a big thing for my mental health and my physical health over the last 2 years. I'm going to be 46 in a few months. And I'm
10 years apart.
Yeah, dude, exactly. And I'm in really good shape right now. I'm physically fit. I'm super lean. I feel strong. And I've always kind of been that way, but the BioPro stuff, a lot of my diet, all that stuff. I don't drink, it all comes into play, but it definitely has helped my TBI. So that's definitely something we can talk about. But where can people find you if they want to find you personally, watch some cool racing stuff? Like, where can they find you if they want to talk about the mounting stuff for their cases and whatnot? Where can they find you?
The racing, you can check out just Geyser Brothers.
Geyser Brothers?
Yeah. We have a couple different trucks on the team. The team I'm currently racing with is Rubik Motorsports, like Rubik's Cube.
Yeah. Okay.
Very fast team. We're getting some more seat time. We're going to be coming up like a quick, good example. The Mint 400 this last March, we qualified first overall by 9 seconds.
Oh, wow. And for those, 9 seconds is a massive lead.
Yeah. Like there was a handful of very well-known drivers were protesting us and stuff. And it was like, no, we just freaking laid it all out there.
Yeah.
So that's Rubik Racing. That's who I'm racing with currently. Mounting company, kept it simple.
That's it.
The Mounting Company.
Yeah.
Like Instagram, themountingcompany.com. The whole reason of starting it was attracting good, cool people, yourself included. So
I don't know how cool I am.
You are. This is not this is a team thing. Yeah. Everyone who can go, hey, I got ideas for the mounts. Reach out.
Yeah.
Like, let's
grow this
together.
We talked about a couple little, I was like troubleshooting. Here's the only thing that I could think of maybe going wrong with it.
And it was amazing.
Yeah.
Stuff like that is priceless.
Yeah.
The Mounting Company, shoot us messages. We're totally in. We're talking with people, growing, just doing cool things with cool people and taking care of each other.
Yeah. If you're an off-roader, overlander, hunter, if you have side-by-sides, quads, trucks, boats, like definitely check it out. I'm going to be putting some on my truck, like my personal truck. We've got some units going out to buddies of mine with some special operations units. It's impressive stuff, man. I'm super stoked for you. I want to see you succeed. You're talking, you're like, dude, it's so cool you're doing this. Well, like that's what this is about. That's what this community is about. And like, for me, there's a reason I'm not wealthy. It's like, I want to see you succeed. I don't want anything for it. Like karma's karma. What goes around comes around, bro. It's like, you've got a good product. You worked hard. You've worked your ass off. You've been dedicated. You're a good person. You're good. You're a good human. Like, let's do what we can to let's use this forum. Let's use YouTube. Let's use the internet. Let's use social media, not for like talking shit about people and like just being keyboard warriors. Yeah. Like, let's actually help people and make this place a better place. Help society. So, dude, Conor, super stoked you came down. I know you got a long drive ahead of you still. You're still continuing up north. You're crashing up there. And then you're going up to Pacific Northwest. Yep. So if you see this Friday afternoon, evening, Friday, like 4:00 Mountain Time, I think, right, Yoshi? 4:00 Mountain Time, it gets released. Watch it, check it out. Then go see Conor at the Mounting Company booth at Pacific Northwest Overland Expo. And man, I appreciate you, bro.
Dude,
thanks for coming out.
I can't thank you enough.
Lily, you want to come up here and see? Oh,
I got to get the star.
Here's Lily. Here's Lily. Yep, she's been a little nudgy. So thank you, brother. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time. There's a story.